Good afternoon and welcome. Kent Bain with 9 Business Group and the Elevate Chat Group. With us today, we have Mandrea and Brendan from Fancii.com. I think it's Fancii Company. I will hand it off to them. They can introduce themselves and welcome, Brendan and Mandrea. Mandrea, why don't you start?
Great. Thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to be here. I'm Mandrea, and I am the co-founder and communications manager at Fancii.
Welcome.
Thank you for the intro, Kent. My name is Brendan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Fancii.
Excellent. So what is Fancii? What is Fancii's Fancii? I've been to the website, but why don't you give us an overview as to kind of what you guys intend Fancii to be and who's your ideal client and what you guys do and why?
Awesome. I can start off. So Fancii, we're a beauty tool brand. As you would have seen on our website, we sell lots of different beauty tools and accessories. We have anything ranging from lighted makeup mirrors, and bad beauty lighting, which is kind of a term that we've coined as BBL. So BBL is often hiding like in the hotel rooms or, even in your own house. So we have lighted makeup mirrors, we have skincare tools, nail care tools, all sorts of self-care tools. That's a little bit about what we offer.
Brandon, what's your version?
It's pretty much what Mandrea said. We're a D2C e-commerce brand. So what that means is we sell direct to consumer, and majority of our business is through online, through our website and other online platforms, such as Amazon, even other channels like Urban Outfitter, Neiman Marcus, Indigo. There's lots. Macy's. I could go on and on, but essentially, yeah, like we're primarily a e-commerce company. So
fantastic. So how long have you been in business and what inspired you to use this product line and venture into this space?
We've been in the business for almost 7 years now, but as a Fancii as a beauty brand, 5 years. So
what inspired the start?
Yeah, it's long story short. Essentially, I originally started the company as just kind of like just sell anything kind of e-commerce store with so many different products before we pivoted into beauty. And actually me and Mandrea, how we met was I met her online. So I was actually hiring a position to someone to help me with copywriting. We just kind of striked up a conversation through Upwork, and we're like, hey, you want to help me write some stuff? And she's like, yeah, cool. Why not? And that's kind of how we began a relationship, a business relationship. And but yeah, so we kind of like after a couple months, I feel like, yeah, she's really good at what she does. And we kind of realized there was a big market, especially in the beauty industry. And obviously, as a guy, I'm not an expert in a lot of the products that we sold before we started Fancii, but obviously the last 5 years, now I can say I know everything in and out of every beauty tool that's on the market. Yeah, it's essentially when we started, and that's when we pivoted, because, I met Mandrea and she was like very, obviously interested and know a lot more about beauty than I ever known. And we decided to kind of start Fancii as a beauty brand. So that's kind of like the gist of the story.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll just add in that Brendan was selling a lot of like magnifying glasses, and I think he had a few magnifying mirrors, but I'm like, you're really onto something. Like, we should make this a beauty tool brand, because I was traveling at the time and I was dealing with, like I said, bad beauty lighting in hotel rooms. And I'm like, women, this is a struggle that I myself, and I know other women who are struggling, not just when you're traveling, but just during your beauty routine, not being able to see clearly, whether it be because of the lighting or because you need a magnified mirror. It's not just people with bad eyesight, like just being able to improve your beauty routine. And then Fancii, like even the word fancy. So we're all about improving the beauty routine, but also making a little glamorous on the side. side, because beauty routines should be fun and not something that, you know, you dread doing, like you dread washing your face at night.
That's fantastic. If you had one wish for your business, what would it be?
One wish.
Ooh, I think we should both answer separately. Because I'm
All
sure
right, go for it. So Brendan, you go
first.
Wish,
Brendan,
I
go
mean,
for it.
oh, sorry.
That's
Go
okay.
ahead. For me, it's easy. I just want as many people to find out about our brand so that they can be helped by our products. Like at the end of the day, that is why we're doing what we're doing, is to help improve people's beauty routines, to help them, you know, express themselves, whether it be through makeup or just to find that joy in their day to do their skincare, makeup, beauty routine, whatever it is. And our products just help them to, you know, achieve that. And for me, my wish would only for as many people as possible to be able to be changed by fancy beauty products.
It's pretty good. How about you, Brendan?
That was really well spoken. My wish is more on the business side, but you know, as with scaling and especially a product-based business, a lot of capital is obviously required. The more, you know, products we want to sell, the more inventory we need to keep, and obviously, if we had more capital, that's always a wish that we have. And we're obviously like a startup, bootstrapping since day one. We haven't taken out any kind of like loans or anything as such. So it's money, I guess, always for us is always a tight kind of yeah, it's a struggle, if that makes sense. So
No,
obviously, if possible, we have more money that we could have scaled faster. So.
Excellent. No, that's very fair indeed. How did you guys, with an online product, online brand, did you have an impact with COVID, good or bad?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
We actually, fortunately, we had a really great impact because with salons being closed, you know, everything was closed, right? Due to the pandemic. So people were forced to bring their beauty routines at home. Like, for example, we have a nail care tool, which basically provides, you know, mani-pedi at home. And because the salons were closed, that's one of our first products that saw a tremendous increase right when COVID was happening. And that's something that's not going away. You know, I know one of the questions was about beauty industry trends, and that's one of them. DIY at home beauty is going to continue to be on the rise.
What did you find, Brendan, as the guy at the helm who probably has carried most of the financial burden of the business? Revenue was up. Were you able to determine early on what products were a hit, or was it a bit of panic to start and then as orders started coming in, or did you proactively look at it and go, we're moving online, we change our marketing to adjust, or was it reactionary, this product's in demand, so we're going to change the marketing?
Yeah, so basically what Mandrea says, like, because we've always been a kind of like online brand, and we do carry most of our business through e-commerce. We did, and I believe every business in the world experienced a downturn the first, I think, 2 to 3 weeks of when COVID first hit. I can't remember exact month, but in 2019, I believe, like in March or something, I think that was the month where I think everyone, you know, it doesn't matter if your business was online or offline, you just kind of took a hit that first couple of weeks. And obviously, like as a business owner, we were kind of panicking because we saw a tremendous drop in sales across, you know, our channels. But fortunately, with, I think, and then really depend on what segment of the you know industry you're in. And fortunately, we were in the beauty / online component, and which saw tremendous growth, especially in that first year of the pandemic. Because I think, like Mandrea was saying, like a lot of people were stuck at home. They didn't have a lot of things to do. So actually a lot of people started to look into self-care. So buying stuff that, you know, like whether it's these skincare devices or whether it's mirrors, you know, now you have all the time in the world to kind of just do what you maybe always wanted to do. And so there were definitely a positive impact for our business, but, you know, it's not for other business out there, but we're fortunate. Yeah.
Excellent. In the middle of all that, or as you've grown and scaled your business, have you gone to outside counsel? Do you have mentors or coaches or other people, advisors to your business? And what do those relationships look like, and were they important in the journey?
I can answer to that. So to be honest, we never really had like an investor or someone who is in the business world to be our mentor. But I was fortunate to have a father-in-law who had his own business before, and he was kind of like my mentor since day one. He kind of gave me the idea that, you know, I can one day can run my own business, because before this I didn't go to school for business. I never had parents that went own their own business, so I really knew nothing about it. So it seemed foreign to me. Obviously I was always like entrepreneur minded, but like, because you didn't know anyone who's done this, or even my friends, like no one I knew really started their own business. So it's just kind of like it's like a different world, right? But I was fortunate to have a father-in-law who kind of like taught and really gave me lots of advices, especially early on. You know, and he was in the shipping business, so that was really helpful, because obviously we had to ship products across the ocean to all parts of the world. So yeah, so that was very helpful early on. Also, another one of our co-founders, which also joined us in the like, you know, like probably like just shortly after Mandrea. He had his own startup, and so he was able to bring a lot of his expertise, you know, because he's done it, and he knows, right? Like, because startups, there's always ups and downs. There's always going to be some kind of failure in, you know, as long as you keep going at it without giving up. I think a failure is never a failure, because I think the only time you really fail is if you give up, right? So so he was able to really help us kind of navigate the tough times, and just, yeah, I think those two people that are, I would say, mentors to me and Mandrea. And because I think we're both new to this game, so.
And so how long have the two of you been partners?
5 years.
Yeah,
5 years. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. How is that? Obviously 5 years, the partnership's been good, but like all partnerships and relationship, there's ups and downs. Has there been any struggles in that partnership, and how did you navigate them?
I feel like they're
Yeah, I don't think we have problems, right? I was gonna say, yeah.
Oh, come on. No problems, no challenges, no arguments over the water cooler, over Zoom, throwing things at the screen. It's all been roses and rainbows. Come on.
Well, I guess, to be frank, like, I guess we have multiple co-founders. It's not just me and Mandrea, right? But we've definitely had, you know, maybe struggles between maybe other co-founders in the company, but not directly between me and Mandrea. So that's fortunate, at least in that sense. But obviously, I do understand where you're coming from, Ken. Like, when it comes to business partnership, there's always it's just like a marriage, right? Like this, like if someone says like we never argue ever in a marriage, that's probably not true. So, but I think at least with me and Mandrea, we're both like understanding people, right? Like, obviously, like, there's a lot of times that maybe she don't agree with my opinion and I don't agree with her opinion on how to do something, but we try to see where the other person is coming from, and I think that's one of the reasons why we don't have as much arguments perhaps with other people who are more stubborn and they don't like to see from other people's perspectives instead of your own. I think that's one of the biggest challenge is when you know have to deal with more narrow-minded kind of perspectives. So
yeah.
Any comments?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like, just speaking on the biggest struggles, it's like different personalities, and Brendan and I both do have a personality type that sees the other person's side. We're very open to feedback. You know, if there was something that Brendan, I don't know, whether it be just a campaign we're doing or a product we're launching, like we are very open towards each other and give each other our feedback, and we take that feedback and we work together. on a conclusion, but usually we do agree on most everything. I feel like there hasn't been anything major, but yeah, I think just being open to feedback is so important.
Yeah, and I was going to chime in. One more thing is that I learned over the years that like basically like if you want to really run a successful company as a leader, you have to check your ego at the door, right? I feel like ego is one of those biggest things that a lot of people, it's like the downfall of a lot of great people, even though they're very smart, intelligent, talented, you know, good in everything that they do. But if your ego is too big, like, you know, people, no matter how smart and talented and amazing you are, like nobody wants to work for someone who thinks they're better than everyone else. So, and I think that's one of the biggest things that, and it's fortunate that me and Mandrea both, at least I think, we don't have huge egos. And that's kind of like beneficial because, you know, when you have big egos, you tend to argue more and fight for, you know, who is right more than like what actually is the, you know, the most right for the company versus, you know, just fighting on who is the more right personally. And that to me is kind of like how you get into these big, you know, arguments and which leads to nowhere, but really just, yeah, problems. So yeah.
And at the end of the day, we always do what's best for Fancii. And I think all of our decisions are guided towards what's best for this business. So that's been another thing. Like yeah, the ego thing, I couldn't have said it more than what Brendan already said, but we always have Fancii in the, you know, forefront of everything we do.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. What has been the biggest learning in the last 5 years?
Ooh, I mean, all the things we said earlier were all parts of what we learned. But honestly, there's a lot of things. I guess I'll start first. Sorry, Mandrea. But yeah, like there's honestly so many different things that I personally learned, especially from, you know, how to be a better leader. I think it's one of the, I mean, even that there was so much involved in how to be a better leader, whether it's in hiring people, whether it's building a company culture that resonates, not just like it kind of like you have to build a company that resonates with who you are, I find, because authenticity is very important. Like you can't really pretend to be someone else and then you know you preach something but you're not what you're preaching, right? So kind of understanding like, you know, like what you want in this company has to be almost like a resonates with who you are and your values, your morals, and then how to build a company that have people that all have the similar values and morals and you know, and then only then when you have a team of kind of like a well-oiled machine. And that was yeah, it took me a while to learn that. Obviously we've hired and let go many people over the years. I was sorry, not I shouldn't say many, but like definitely a fair amount of people. And you know, through that experience, we were able to figure out exactly how we want our company and the culture and where we want our company to be, you know, moving forward and all that stuff. So that was my biggest learning, I guess, over the last 5 years.
Excellent. Thank you. How about you, Mandrea?
Yeah, I'd have to say mine would also be similar. I think like you can't have, you know, an incredible company without having an incredible team, and you can't have an incredible team without giving the support to your team, finding the right people to make up your team, bringing out the best of each of your team members to, you know, bring out the best skills and passions in them. Also to make sure everybody has the same drive and passion you do towards this brand. So yeah, I guess that has been the biggest thing I've learned is like just helping to be a better leader with Brendan's assistance. I mean, Brendan, back to the mentor question, like Brendan is a huge mentor for me. He has been since the first day I met him. I mean, obviously I joined Fancii because of what he was doing and I believed in the mission, but also because I believed in Brendan's direction and his vision, and just, yeah, look up to him overall.
Excellent. Thank you.
Make me
What is
blush,
the biggest
Mandrea.
frustration you have in your business? What is the biggest frustration you see in the next 3 to 6 months in your business or currently?
That's a very good question. I guess like for us, trying to, because we have a goal, and we want to hit these targets by every year, every calendar year, and we have lofty ambitious goals, and I guess for us to kind of hit those targets every year, there's always it's not as easy as it looks, if that makes sense. And obviously we have to kind of work hard, and being e-commerce, being the fact that this 24/7, it's always like we're always like, oh, we'll get to that when we get to that, or when we're less busy. But it's kind of like we're never less busy. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, yeah, it's a struggle, but at the same time, like Mandrea said, saying earlier before, our team is amazing. Our team really are dedicated to kind of achieve the goal, as a company, right? And everyone really feels empowered, as well as motivated to achieve those goals. Not just we're working together as a team, right? And I think that's the key. Even though there are numerous obstacles and things never seem to get less busy, but we're always kind of like, yeah, you know what, let's keep at it. Here's our goal, and we want to impact more and more people in this world, and hoping that if each one of these tools can bring a positive change in someone's life. And that's what kind of excites all of us to kind of work hard and trying to achieve those goals. But yeah, like it's been challenging, especially in the recent, I'm not sure if you know much about the e-commerce world, but since like Facebook had this update last year, there's just been, I guess, obviously everything is more expensive now. So it just costs more money to do all kinds of digital advertising in a lot of platforms. And we are recently trying to figure out TikTok, and TikTok is a new platform for us. So that's a big challenge. Trying to learn a new platform. It's like learning how to drive a motorcycle instead of riding in cars, right? So but I'm sure with our persistence and resilience, we'll figure out how to scale on TikTok. So
cool. How about you, Mandrea?
Yeah, that last one. I mean, everything Brendan said, I can relate to, but my first thought was definitely all of the changes, just staying up to date on all the marketing changes. So first, yeah, like Instagram was where it was at, and then Facebook ads, and now we're changing again to focus on TikTok. There's more chances to go viral on TikTok, so it makes more sense to go hard there. I'm not the ad buyer for our team. That's Sahar, but I know she would probably say the same. It's just like, you've got to stay up to date on all these trends and what's happening when it comes to ads.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I've been business coaching for 15 years, and which is about when Facebook kind of took off, and we started playing in the Facebook world about 10 years ago. And it's one thing to change the rules once a year, once every 18 months. It's another thing to change the rules every 6 months, let alone monthly. So for my clients who are active on social media, it has been a very challenging learning curve, and it has not always been fair. I will echo that one for sure. What is one piece of advice you would share about growing a business?
For substance, like, never give up, just keep on going. And if you have the passion, you will keep on going naturally. Like, it won't feel like it's a work thing. It won't feel like, a negative thing to do, right? Like, you'll just naturally want to keep going. Obviously there can be like huge ups and downs in any business, but that's to be expected with anything, right? That's life. So just keep on going and believe in yourself.
Excellent. Thank you.
I pretty much concur with what Mandrea said. And I think, and I'm pretty sure this is said many times by many different entrepreneurs, but essentially finding something that you're passionate about is the key to, because if you just do something that you're just in it for whatever reason, like making more money, then your passion, and it's eventually going to die out, and you're not going to be able to wake up every day in the morning to want to be excited to do what you do. And once that happens, and usually will happen very short if you don't have that passion, then your business won't take off, or won't last a long time. So that's why I think it's key to finding something that you actually enjoy, and work is no longer just work, right? It's just something that you enjoy doing anyways. It's like if you found a hobby and all you did was your hobby every day, then time will fly by and you'll do amazing things. So
I agree 100%. Passion, fun. We spend too many hours behind our desks in our offices with our teams. We spend more waking hours owning businesses than we do with our families. And if you're not having fun, quite simply, we're doing it wrong. And it's a big passion of mine to ensure that business owners are having fun and meeting their goals and objectives. So we have that in common. What is the biggest mistake you've made that you're willing to share?
Yeah, Mandrea, I'll let you go first on this one. I have to think a little bit here.
I have to think too. I'm sorry.
Well, let's give you some examples. It could be, I think back, you alluded that you had started 7 years ago and you kind of refocused 5 years into the beauty industry. So maybe one of the mistakes you made early on was the product focus, or maybe too wide and not narrow enough. Another good example, maybe you've, in the learning curve with social media, there's been some missteps that have taken you off. I mean, I can personally speak to the thousands of dollars I've spent on marketing that haven't paid off. So I don't know if that's advice or storytelling, but somewhere in the middle is the truth. So what is the biggest mistake that you guys have encountered, or learning? Maybe a mistake's not the right word. We all identify with it differently.
Would like management mistakes be considered a mistake? Or?
Yeah, well, staffing is one of the biggest challenges we all face in business ownership. Is whenever I have a client who's hiring their first person, the comment often is, don't worry about it. You're probably going to F it up by accident anyway. It's not going to be your fault. So don't worry about trying to get it right. It's more important to hire, start moving, take the learning, and get better as you go. So if you have a story there, please share.
I guess for me, it's probably one of the things I learned the hard way is how to, lead and manage people properly, in the sense that I used to when I, especially back in the days when it was a small company and I was directly just managing the staff myself. I used to delegate tasks. So instead of delegating a goal, I delegate tasks, and then you kind of just, because as a business owner, you want your team, especially the small team that you have, to take ownership of the company, and then actually make decisions that, without, you don't want a bunch of people basically waiting for you to just give orders and do exactly what you tell them, right? You want them to also kind of act almost like you, in a sense, especially if you're a small company, you want to grow. So when I used to delegate tasks, and I was kind of almost training these people to become more like robots and just kind of take orders and do exactly what you're told, and without really trying to think outside of their criteria and their job duties. So I learned to, instead of delegating tasks, to delegate goals. And when you delegate goals, then it's almost like someone will have a purpose, right? Like now they know, okay, so this is a goal and I need to reach that goal, and they'll figure out how to get to that goal. Like you don't have to tell them, oh, you have to do this, and they'll just, so that actually instantly changed the way I guess our business basically progressed, because now I could spend more time on maybe hiring other people or doing something else, like developing this area or growing that, versus before I was pretty much having to do everything to come up with the strategy and all that stuff, and that, if that makes sense. So just by changing that perspective, I was able to free up more time for myself, so we can then spend more time on other things, and then also empower the team too, because now they are part of the strategy, and they make a direct impact on where this business will be in the next half a year, or 5 years. So I think that was a really good thing that I learned, and obviously it was from a mistake. Yeah. So
How about you, Mandrea?
I love that one, Brendan. Mine is not as good as Brendan. I would just say, I remember back in the day when Brendan and I were doing Facebook ads by ourselves, and we didn't do the proper research. Brendan, I don't know if you remember, but we had a giveaway, like basically the lead form was to win something, right? And I remember we spent like thousands of dollars on that and wondered why like no one was buying. And it's because we didn't set up like the ad correctly. Do you remember that, Brendan? It was targeting
Yeah,
like
we had,
some people.
yeah.
Like that seems like, looking back on it now, that just seems like such an amateur mistake. Like I don't even, that's not really my department anyways, but back in the day when we were, you know, not many of us, right? We were a team, just, I mean, we're still a relatively small team, but yeah, that's funny to look back on. Basically just not having the knowledge, I guess, or we were too excited, probably. We're too excited to set up the campaign, set it up wrong, wasted lots of money not targeting the correct potential customers.
Oh yeah,
Well, I had one
I'm
client-
sure we lost a lot of money over the years doing something silly or forgetting this or doing something that, yeah, but that's how we learn. I think that's how
Absolutely.
we learn the hard way. It's like the hard knock life, you know. It's just like you lose some money and you never make the same mistake again.
Yeah,
if business were easy, everybody would do it and it would be perfect every time. It's not. We all bring our passion, our experience and knowledge, and none of it's perfect. I have one client way back, his first foray into online marketing, Google AdWords, pay-per-clicks, ran a campaign for 3 or 4 months, thousands of clicks, like great campaign, thought we were winning the lottery, but nothing was converting. We couldn't get a client to save our life. And then we realized, we started going through the analytics, 90% of our clicks were in Russia. Well, we weren't doing business in Russia. So you kind of go, okay, apparently there's something geographically we have to click to turn that off.
yeah.
So yes, there's no shortage of learning.
Yeah.
One last question for you. What do you want to be known for? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, your company's successful, you sell it, whatever that maturation or ultimate goal is, you look back, what is it in 1 or 2 sentences, that thing you want to be known for?
I can start. If essentially, like, honestly, I personally don't really care what my name or I don't want to be known for something, but I just want Fancii to make a positive change in this world, and to look back 5 to 10 years from now, knowing that this brand has impacted more than, you know, maybe hopefully one day 10 million or more people in this world. That to me is what kind of like, I'll be very happy. Essentially, if that would be my goal. Like I want
10 million users
to impact as many people as possible positively in this
So
world.
10 million customers?
Or
more than that.
More, yeah, 100 million.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. Like I don't like need my name on anything. I just want Fancii to be known. I would love for us to be a household brand name that is helping improve people's lives. Simple as that. But the more people, the better.
That's an amazing story, guys. Thank you again for spending 35-40 minutes with us and sharing your story with our audiences. Keep up the amazing work. Any parting comments before we close the recording and push it out to the universe?
Go check us out. Go to Fancii.com.
And that's a good push. Anything else? That's excellent.
But for real, go check us out. No, I mean,
and that's Fancii with 2 eyes.
Yes, that's right.
Awesome.
No, I just appreciate you having us. It was great to be able to, you know, share our experience and share Fancii.
Excellent. Thank you.